What if the dream that began with love, family, and hard work slowly twisted into a web of betrayal, greed, and shocking secrets? For nearly 2 decades, Little People, Big World has captured the hearts of millions, showcasing the Roloff family's triumphs, struggles, and unbreakable bonds on their picturesque Oregon farm. But beneath the laughter, the family dinners, and the pumpkin patch tour, something darker has been brewing. Today, we're uncovering the $3.5 million lie, a scandal that links Caryn Chandler, Amy Roloff, and even Chris Marek in ways fans never could have imagined. Did Caryn really destroy Amy's happiness to secure her own future with Matt? Was the farm sale truly a business move, or part of a carefully orchestrated plan? And what secret from Chris's past has recently come to light, one that could rewrite the story of Amy's second chance at love? As the dust settles over Roloff Farms, the truth is beginning to surface, and it's far more explosive than anyone expected. This isn't just a story about a farm. It's a story about power, money, and betrayal, and how one lie worth millions could change everything the Roloff family built. Sound cue: slow build of tense background music, low piano plus ambient strings. Over the next hour, we'll peel back the layers of deceit. How Caryn's rise from Roloff Farms employee to Matt's partner created fractures that may never heal. How Amy was allegedly blindsided, not only by the divorce but by hidden deals that stripped her of her legacy. And how Chris, the man she thought saved her, may be more connected to Caryn and Matt than anyone realized. This is not just another Little People, Big World story. This is the truth behind the $3.5 million lie. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Roloff Farms wasn't just land, it was a dream built from nothing. Nestled in the rolling hills of Hillsboro, Oregon, the 109-acre property became the heart and soul of the Roloff family and the beloved TLC show Little People, Big World. For nearly 2 decades, viewers watched Matt and Amy Roloff raise their 4 children, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, against the picturesque backdrop of pumpkin patches, treehouses, and endless fields. What started as a small fixer-upper quickly grew into something extraordinary. Matt, with his limitless imagination, transformed the property into a wonderland, complete with medieval castles, pirate ships, and a pumpkin season that drew visitors from all over the country. Amy, on the other hand, kept the family grounded, managing the household, organizing events, and reminding everyone that the true treasure wasn't in the land itself, but in the memories they built together. For years, Roloff Farms represented more than just real estate. It was a legacy, the proof that despite challenges, differences, and dwarfism, the Roloffs could achieve the impossible. It became a story of perseverance, faith, and family unity that inspired millions. But behind the smiles and success, cracks were forming. When Matt and Amy's marriage began to crumble, so did the foundation of their dream. After nearly 30 years together, they announced their separation, a heartbreaking decision that would forever alter the fate of Roloff Farms. After the divorce, Amy faced an agonizing choice: hold on to her share of the property and remain tethered to her past, or let go and start anew. In 2019, she made the decision to sell her portion of Roloff Farms to Matt for around $975,000, a move she believed would bring peace and stability to the family. She publicly stated that she trusted Matt would keep the farm and the family, especially for their sons Zach and Jeremy, who had expressed interest in one day taking it over. At the time, Amy's words were filled with hope. She believed that even though her marriage had ended, the farm, their shared dream, would live on through their children. But what happened next shattered that belief. In 2022, Matt Roloff stunned fans and his own family when he announced that a large portion of Roloff Farms was going up for sale, listed for a staggering $3.5 million. The news sent shockwaves through the Little People, Big World community. The land where family barbecues, pumpkin festivals, and countless TLC memories had been filmed was now just another listing on the market. The same property Amy had sold to keep the peace was being marketed to strangers, and fans couldn't believe it. The backlash was immediate. Social media exploded with angry comments, calling the sale a betrayal of everything the Roloffs once stood for. Viewers accused Matt of choosing money over family, of turning a legacy into a transaction. Some even labeled it the $3.5 million lie. To them, it symbolized the moment the Roloff dream died. And at the center of the controversy was Caryn Chandler, Matt's longtime girlfriend and former Roloff Farms manager. Many fans pointed fingers at Caryn, suggesting she had encouraged Matt to move on from the farm, to start a new life without the constant reminder of Amy's influence. Rumors spread that Caryn didn't want to live in Amy's old house, or deal with the emotional baggage that came with it. In the eyes of some fans, she became the quiet architect behind Matt's decision to sell. But whether Caryn's role was fact or speculation, the result was undeniable. The Roloff family's unity began to crumble even further. Zach and Jeremy, both once eager to buy portions of the farm, were reportedly left frustrated and hurt when negotiations with their father fell apart. Zach, in particular, expressed disappointment during an episode of Little People, Big World, revealing that the discussions with Matt didn't go as planned. What was once meant to be a generational legacy had now become a battleground of mistrust, money, and emotion. Fans who had followed the Roloffs for years said it felt like watching a family heirloom be auctioned off piece by piece, not just in dollars but in broken relationships. The farm had always been the family's anchor, now it was the wedge driving them apart. And while Matt defended his decision publicly, saying he wanted to give others a chance to enjoy the property and build their own dreams, many weren't convinced. To them, this wasn't about new beginnings. It was about erasing the past. Even Amy, despite maintaining a civil front, couldn't hide her disappointment. In interviews and on social media, she spoke candidly about how difficult it was to see the farm listed for sale, a place where her children grew up, where every milestone of their lives had been captured on camera. She had trusted that by selling her share to Matt, the family's legacy would be protected. Instead, it felt like that trust had been misplaced. The sale didn't just represent a financial decision. It symbolized the loss of something sacred, the physical embodiment of decades of dreams, laughter, and heartbreak. And for fans, the timing was even more painful. The announcement came during a period when the family was already divided. Zach and Tori had moved away, Jeremy and Audrey were pursuing separate business ventures, and Amy was building her life with her new husband, Chris Marek. The sale was like the final nail in the coffin of the old Roloff family that fans had come to love. For many, it confirmed their worst fears, that Little People, Big World had stopped being about family long ago. That fame, fortune, and personal differences had taken over. And that Roloff Farms, once a beacon of hope, was now just another casualty of reality TV success. Still, the story was far from over. Because as the sale unfolded, deeper questions began to emerge. Was this truly Matt's decision, or was he being influenced by those closest to him? Was the $3.5 million price tag just business, or was it revenge wrapped in real estate? Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. The $3.5 million sale marked the turning point for the Roloff family. It wasn't just the loss of land, it was the loss of trust, tradition, and togetherness. And from that moment on, nothing in their world would ever be the same. As the years passed following Matt and Amy Roloff's separation, a new figure began to take center stage in the family's story, Caryn Chandler. To longtime fans of Little People, Big World, Caryn wasn't a stranger. She had been part of the Roloff Farms team for years, working closely with Matt and Amy long before romance ever entered the picture. But when Matt and Caryn's relationship turned personal, it changed everything, not just for them, but for the entire Roloff family dynamic. Caryn's connection to the family began in the early days of LPBW, when she managed events at Roloff Farms. She was known as a cheerful, hardworking employee who helped organize the farm's iconic pumpkin season, a time that drew thousands of visitors every fall. Her rapport with both Matt and Amy seemed professional and friendly, and she became a familiar face behind the scenes. But when Matt and Amy's marriage ended in 2016, Caryn's closeness to Matt began to spark whispers among fans and even tension within the Roloff family itself. Soon after Matt and Amy's divorce was finalized, Matt's relationship with Caryn became public. To some viewers, it looked like a natural connection, two people who shared years of collaboration and mutual respect. But to others, especially longtime supporters of Amy, it felt like a betrayal. The timing raised eyebrows. Caryn had worked for the family while Matt and Amy's marriage was unraveling, and fans couldn't shake the feeling that emotional lines might have been crossed long before the divorce was finalized. As Little People, Big World continued airing new seasons, fans began to read between the lines. Scenes where Matt and Caryn appeared together were often interpreted as evidence of how close they had become, perhaps even while Amy was still in the picture. Social media became a battleground of opinions. Supporters of Amy accused Caryn of moving in too quickly, while others argued that she and Matt deserved happiness after years of tension and miscommunication between the ex-spouses. However, what truly set off controversy wasn't just the romance. It was the growing distance between Matt and his children, particularly Zach and Jeremy. As negotiations over Roloff Farms began to unfold, the family found themselves divided over who would inherit the property that had been at the center of their lives for decades. For fans, it seemed like Caryn's presence coincided with the fracture of the Roloff legacy. According to online chatter, Caryn allegedly influenced Matt's decisions, including his choice to keep control of the farm rather than sell a portion to his sons. When both Zach and Jeremy reportedly tried to purchase parts of the property to keep it in the family, they were turned down. This stunned viewers, who had always believed one of the Roloff children would eventually take over. To many, this was the moment that shifted public perception of Caryn, from simply being Matt's girlfriend to being a catalyst for division. Rumors began spreading that Caryn had convinced Matt to see the farm as his business alone, not a family inheritance. Fans speculated that she encouraged him to treat the property as an investment rather than a legacy to pass down, and that her influence had driven a wedge between Matt and his sons. Online forums exploded with theories. Some claimed Caryn wanted a clean slate to distance Matt from the emotional weight of his past, including his ex-wife and children. Others went further, accusing her of deliberately manipulating Matt into isolating himself from the rest of the family. It was never about legal wrongdoing, fans clarified, but about moral accountability. To them, Caryn had committed a crime of manipulation, one that didn't break laws but did break hearts. The backlash was harsh. On social media, fans expressed frustration and sadness that a family once known for love, humor, and teamwork had splintered so dramatically. Many accused Caryn of taking over the farm, pointing to her increasing involvement in business decisions and her presence at every major farm event. Even more controversial was the perception that Matt seemed to prioritize Caryn's opinion over his children's input. In one particularly emotional episode, tensions boiled over as Zach and Matt clashed over the future of Roloff Farms. Zach expressed his disappointment, suggesting that his father's decisions, and by extension Caryn's influence, had made it impossible for him and Tori to feel welcome there anymore. Shortly after, Zach and Tori moved away, leaving the farm behind. To viewers, this moment symbolized the end of the Roloff family unity that had once defined the show. Fans didn't hold back. On Reddit and Facebook discussion groups, countless threads debated Caryn's motives. Was she protecting Matt from more family drama, or was she the source of it? Some longtime viewers pointed out subtle changes in Matt's demeanor since dating Caryn. They described him as more defensive, more business-minded, and less open to emotional reconciliation with his kids. Others argued that this was simply Matt evolving after years of personal challenges. Still, the narrative of Caryn as the villain persisted. She became a lightning rod for fan anger, the woman many blamed for dismantling the family they had watched grow up on television. Words like homewrecker, gold digger, and manipulator began appearing in fan comments, though none of these claims were ever substantiated. TLC viewers, however, are known for being fiercely loyal, and once their minds are made up, it's hard to change them. At the heart of it all was one question: did Caryn truly manipulate Matt, or was she unfairly blamed for existing family problems that were bound to surface eventually? From one perspective, Caryn was a convenient scapegoat, the outsider who entered a tight-knit family already burdened with emotional scars from years of public scrutiny. From another, her involvement appeared to coincide too perfectly with Matt's alienation from Amy, Zach, and Jeremy. Whether intentional or not, her presence changed the dynamics permanently. Even Amy herself seemed to acknowledge the tension in later interviews. Though she remained civil publicly, she admitted that it was difficult to see Matt move on so quickly, especially with someone she had once worked closely with. Amy's discomfort reflected what many viewers felt: a sense of betrayal not just as an ex-wife, but as a woman who had built her life around the same farm Caryn now shared with her former husband. By this point, the Roloff family no longer appeared as the united front fans once admired. Instead, they had become a web of divided loyalties and quiet resentments. And for many, Caryn stood at the center of that storm, a figure of both affection and animosity. As rumors continued to swirl, Caryn herself mostly stayed silent. She rarely engaged in online disputes, preferring to let her relationship with Matt speak for itself. On Instagram, she shared glimpses of their life together, vacations, farm events, and family celebrations. To her supporters, this was proof of her genuine love for Matt. But to her critics, it was more evidence that she had inserted herself into every aspect of the Roloff legacy. What made the situation more volatile was the symbolic nature of Roloff Farms. It wasn't just property. It represented decades of family history, love, and hard work. The idea that Caryn might have played a role in cutting Amy and the kids out of that legacy was unbearable for many fans who had grown emotionally invested over 20 seasons of the show. By the end of this period, the narrative surrounding Caryn Chandler had crystallized in the public eye. She was either Matt's devoted partner who helped him rebuild after heartbreak, or the woman who manipulated him into breaking apart his family. There seemed to be no middle ground. Whether those claims were fair or exaggerated, one thing was certain: Caryn's presence had transformed the Roloff story. What began as a family's shared dream had become a complex tale of loyalty, love, and alleged betrayal. And the emotional fallout from that shift would ripple through every corner of the Roloff world in the years to come. After decades of pouring her heart into Roloff Farms, Amy Roloff faced the painful reality that she could no longer call it home. What was once a symbol of family unity and love had become a constant reminder of betrayal and change. When Amy sold her share of the farm to Matt, many fans saw it as the final chapter of her heartbreak, a moment of closure that came with both relief and regret. Amy didn't just lose land. She lost the place where her children took their first steps, where she built her dreams, and where her marriage to Matt once thrived. Moving away from that history was like leaving behind a piece of her soul. On social media and in interviews, Amy has admitted that letting go of the farmhouse wasn't just a financial decision. It was emotional, raw, and deeply personal. In her memoir, A Little Me, she confessed that she often felt pressured and cornered during the negotiations. Many fans echoed that sentiment, believing Amy wasn't given a fair chance to reclaim her own vision for the farm. She had built her identity around that land, and watching it slip away, only to see it transformed by Matt and Caryn, felt like salt on an open wound. But Amy refused to let pain define her future. She began rebuilding her life one step at a time. That new chapter came in the form of Chris Marek, a real estate agent with a calm demeanor and an adventurous spirit. Their relationship blossomed quietly at first, far from the public eye, before eventually becoming one of the central storylines on Little People, Big World. Fans watched as Amy found laughter again, going on motorcycle rides, exploring Oregon's countryside, and discovering the joy of simple, shared moments. Chris was everything Matt wasn't: patient, grounded, and emotionally open. Many felt he was the fresh start Amy desperately needed. When the two got married in 2021, it was a milestone that marked Amy's resilience. She chose to hold her wedding on Roloff Farms, a decision that shocked fans and family members alike. For some, it was poetic, Amy reclaiming a space filled with pain and turning it into a celebration of love. But for others, it stirred confusion and old wounds. Even during the wedding episodes, sharp-eyed viewers noticed moments of tension. Amy seemed visibly emotional, even uneasy, as she walked across the same land that once symbolized her marriage to Matt. Behind the smiles, there was an undercurrent of reflection, perhaps even sadness, about how far things had drifted from what they used to be. Over time, Amy embraced her new life as Amy Marek, but traces of the past lingered. During interviews, she often spoke of the farm in bittersweet tones, proud of the memories, yet haunted by how things ended. "I'll always love that place," she once said, "but it doesn't love me back anymore." Fans empathized deeply. Many viewed Amy as the emotional heart of Little People, Big World, the mother who held the family together through endless conflict and change. Her strength inspired countless viewers who had faced their own heartbreaks and rebuilds. Yet as her happiness with Chris seemed to grow, whispers began spreading online, whispers that not everything was as perfect as it looked. Some fans claimed that Amy's interactions with Chris had become strained, pointing to moments on social media and the show where she appeared withdrawn or defensive. There were speculations: was Amy truly happy, or was she struggling behind the scenes? Rumors surfaced suggesting that Chris Marek himself might not be as innocent as fans believed. Online gossip hinted at disagreements over finances, personality clashes, and tension about Amy's ongoing connection to the Roloff family. Viewers noticed subtle moments on screen where Chris seemed impatient or dismissive, particularly when Amy expressed emotional concerns. Some fans wondered if Amy, after years of being overshadowed in her first marriage, had once again found herself in a relationship where her feelings weren't always fully understood. Still, Amy remained poised and optimistic in public. She continued sharing snippets of her daily life, cooking videos, charity work, time with her kids and grandkids, and constantly expressed gratitude for her blessings. Her journey was far from perfect, but it was real. From heartbreak to healing, Amy Roloff had transformed pain into purpose, showing that even after losing everything you built, love and resilience can help you start again. But as new reports emerged about Chris Marek's behavior and potential strain in their marriage, fans began asking, was Amy truly at peace? Or had her story taken another painful turn, one that she hadn't yet revealed? As Amy Roloff began rebuilding her life after the divorce, fans celebrated her new chapter. Her engagement to real estate agent Chris Marek seemed like a storybook second chance. But behind that new beginning, rumors began to swirl, hinting that not everything was as simple as it appeared. When Little People, Big World viewers first met Chris, he came across as charming, patient, and deeply understanding, the perfect balance to Amy's emotional vulnerability after decades with Matt. Yet as the farm drama unfolded, a new layer of suspicion emerged online. Some fans began digging into Chris's past, and what they claimed to find left them stunned. According to social media discussions and online forums, Chris Marek may have had personal or professional ties to someone close to Caryn Chandler, Matt Roloff's fiancée. The theory spread like wildfire. Could Amy's new partner have already known Caryn or even Matt before the two couples were officially together? While no official evidence has surfaced, fans began connecting dots: real estate circles, mutual acquaintances, and local events that both Caryn and Chris might have attended. Some speculated that Chris's familiarity with the Roloff property and its financial details went beyond what was shown on camera. Was he simply doing his research as a real estate expert, or was there more to the story? For longtime fans, the possibility was unsettling. Amy had already endured so much, losing her marriage, her home, and part of her legacy on Roloff Farms. Now, some feared she might have unknowingly found herself caught between two people who benefited from her loss. Online discussions painted a haunting picture. If Caryn was instrumental in pushing Matt towards selling the land, and Chris knew insider details through professional connections, then Amy's emotional exit might not have been entirely her own choice. It could have been a carefully orchestrated shift, one that left Amy starting over while others gained control. Still, in public appearances, Amy and Chris presented a united front. Their wedding, held on the very farm she once called home, was both poetic and controversial. For fans still heartbroken over the family rift, seeing Amy say, "I do," on that same property stirred complicated emotions. Was it closure, or another painful reminder that the Roloff dream had slipped away? Meanwhile, whispers about Chris's connection to Caryn's social circle persisted. Fans noticed awkward tension whenever the couples appeared together on camera, moments where smiles seemed strained, conversations forced. Even Amy's body language changed around Matt and Caryn, with Chris often trying to diffuse the mood or steer the topic elsewhere. Some fans saw this as empathy, others saw it as avoidance. Could it be that Chris was aware of deeper truths behind the scenes, things he didn't want to resurface on national television? The theories grew darker. A few claimed that Chris may have been privy to details about the $3.5 million farm sale, especially given his real estate background. Was it possible he had advised Matt or Caryn before Amy even decided to sell her share? Or worse, could Amy have unknowingly discussed sensitive details with someone who already had a stake in the outcome? While there's no solid proof of wrongdoing, these rumors reignited fan anger and frustration. Many longtime viewers, who once saw Little People, Big World as a wholesome family story, began demanding transparency. They wanted answers not just from Matt or Caryn but from Amy and Chris as well. The questions kept piling up. How much did Chris really know about the farm sale before Amy did? Did he ever have contact with Caryn prior to dating Amy? And if so, why was that connection never mentioned publicly? Even the show's producers remained silent, neither confirming nor denying the rumors. But that silence only fueled speculation, and by this point, the Roloff family's private life had become a puzzle of missing pieces, each one pointing toward deeper secrets. Through it all, Amy maintained her grace and optimism. She continued to post about gratitude, love, and growth, determined not to let gossip define her life. Yet fans couldn't help but notice the subtle sadness in her tone, especially when discussing her past on the farm. Her words often carried the weight of someone who had given everything and was still trying to understand how it all slipped away. By the end of season 25, the emotional distance between the couples was impossible to ignore. Even simple family gatherings felt tense, with Chris often staying quiet, watching as Amy navigated old wounds and unspoken truths. Some fans saw him as her steady support, others wondered if he was hiding something he couldn't say. In the end, the so-called Chris Marek secret remains just that, an unconfirmed mystery, shaped by fan theories and emotional speculation. But what makes it so powerful isn't proof, it's perception. Because after years of watching the Roloffs' lives unfold on screen, fans have learned that on Little People, Big World, nothing is ever quite what it seems. And as whispers about Chris's hidden ties and the farm's true fate continue to circulate, one haunting question remains. Was Amy Roloff's greatest heartbreak simply bad luck? Or was it the result of a plan she was never meant to see coming? After all these years, the Roloff family's journey has become more than just a reality show. It's a powerful reflection of love, loss, and the painful lessons that come when pride and money divide a family. Whether Caryn truly shattered Amy's happiness, or whether it was simply the passing of time and change that tore them apart, one truth remains. The $3.5 million lie left behind wounds that may never fully heal. The Roloffs taught us that behind every beautiful farm and smiling face, there can be heartbreak hidden just beneath the surface. With that said, thank you for watching, and until next time, stay tuned for more stories behind the family we thought we knew so well.